and gentlemen.
Thank you for bringing spaceships back to sci-fi. Feels like we were missing that for a while. When did you hear about the books, The Expanse? How did you come to it, and why was it such a project you didn't have made?
Yeah, I mean, my co-writing partner Hawk Osby and I had been looking for a world-building kind of something to work on in television because there's so much exciting stuff going on, and the books came to us, and it just was an instant realization that the science fiction story we always wanted to tell, the one that we had, about the little people, the blue-collar version, the cops and the ship captains and all that, without the grandeur of sort of Star Trek or Galactica, much more grounded in, and also the colonization of space, the frontier period that sci-fi skips over, where technology didn't solve everything, and where distance and communicate, everything is hard still. These guys just laid that whole canvas out, and we were just like, yes, please, we're in. And from there, I think everybody the team that we built subsequently, everybody was feeling the sci-fi and Alcon, and everybody who got into the party here was also wanting to scratch that itch to see a genre show that had been ignored for a while. And this one had never really been done quite like the Expanse novels, and we felt like we had tripped over the thing we had been looking for forever in terms of story gold to build a world, because they built it for us.
And I came to the show, I was kind of the last part of the puzzle, I guess, because Mark and Hawk had written the pilot and it had been sold to Sci-Fi, and they were looking for somebody with television experience to But it was, and I had loved Galactica. I thought it was one of the finest shows to come around in the last 20 years, and one of the best science fiction shows ever. And for years, Sci-Fi Channel had run away from that kind of programming completely. And when this came to me, initially I was like, I don't want to work in Sci-Fi because they don't do anything interesting. But it was Mark and Hawk's script, because I love Children of Men, which they wrote. That was a brilliant movie. When I saw that they were doing a show with those guys in it, and I read the pilot, I was like, wow, they're serious about doing this kind of thing again. And Alcon was a great partner, and they were making it, they're putting money behind it, the money that it needed to have to actually realize it. And then it was like, okay, it's time to come back and play in space, because it was a different way and a different kind of thing that had been, off the air for a very long time.
To kind of build off of that, what are the responsibilities do you guys feel that you have in going into season 2 and maintaining that sort of very sci-fi, very hard sci-fi feel, not letting it, do you want to soften it up, or do you want to go harder? Do you want to just kind of maintain it? What sort of thing are you looking for?
I think we want to double down. We fell in love with the show for those kinds of elements. We've seen how much, like the hard sci-fi, the stuff that most sci-fi overlooks with technology, we revel in gravity and braking and gravity on the body, and the change in the body living in protracted low G, the distances of communication, all that stuff. We can use that to tell the story, and people love it as we love it. So we want to go further with it, because it's part of the joy of telling the story, because everything isn't solved already. We're still in a colonization of space, and technology is still trying to keep up with human aspiration and failing, and so we get to use all that, and we always go back to, I used to love writing thrillers before cell phones came along. They ruined they ruined the Hitchcock thriller forever, in my opinion. And this show is like getting to be before cell phones. You get to go back to the joy of isolation, distances, people trying to come together, and using it as a frontier. Like it's an ocean. Space is an ocean.
It's, the other thing about it is that when I hear people talk about it like hard sci-fi, I mean, it is, but we don't dwell in the technology. We don't dwell in the detail of it in the way that a lot of that genre typically has. It's there. We see the things that it implies, or that have to occur because the universe is this way. But we don't talk about them. It's like our ships are often traveling backwards if you look at our effect shots, because they're either accelerating or decelerating. That's the only way they could be in space to get from point A to point B. We don't talk about it all that much. They just do. And when the thrusters are on, we have gravity. It's like when they're off, you have zero G. And it's like we don't dwell on them, but the audience sees them. And what you get is the realism of hard sci-fi, well, realism in quotes, but the realism of hard sci-fi that informs the drama in an interesting way. And things just happen, and that's the world. And so hopefully it's not a barrier for people to come look at it. It's like with that moniker hard sci-fi, people go, oh, I don't like that technical stuff. It's not that. It's a human drama set in an environment that tries to be true to like the laws of physics and give you a sense of what space is really like.
So I have one quick question. Well, obviously you can't give us direct hints as to the next season, but in the beginning of next season, will the origins of the Discovery, like kind of the
Proto molecule?
spore, matrix, will that be divulged, or will it be similar? I apologize if it sounds like I'm asking a derivative question. Will it be similar to something like Helix or the X-Files, where, like the Black Whale, it becomes its own character throughout season after season?
Yeah, I mean, you're definitely going to get some answers. You're going to get some answers for sure.
Yeah.
There's no question about that. But like the books, what the proto-molecule does keeps changing, because you can't ask anybody a question about it. You have to try to figure it out.
It keeps morphing.
Yeah, the book, one of the joys of the books, it takes you, 3 books before you really understand what this thing is, but it is something very specific, but it's not, the mystery of it is so interesting. There's no reason to put yourself in the shoes of your characters trying to figure out what it is, and ultimately it does become its own character in the sense that it's the elephant in the room for humanity. It's the new thing that we have to grapple with, but it's never what the show is about is how does a new game-changing technology change humanity. So it's always about people, it's not about this thing. The thing never becomes more important than how do people create a new reality given that it exists. And that's always going to be the story.
Which is very apropos to current events.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. This is a show about people, and the beauty of the books is it never starts to say, oh, this thing is so cool. Let's leave all our people behind and follow this really cool, interesting, game-changing thing, because the story's about how our guys are gonna survive and react to that. So we'll always keep that focus.